Hi guys, today I'm going to show you guys one of my tips for being an exchange student and how to reroute the system of being homesick, and also explaining what I call a forget-me-not. If you don't know me, I went to France this past summer with an exchange student named Candice. We went to Lyon, Paris, Chamonix, Tournai, Genève, and we had so much fun. And then when we came back home, we went to Niagara Falls, Washington DC, New York City, and Virginia Beach, which was amazing, all amazing experiences. These are all things that I have gathered from the summer, and I also have another box set. If you guys would like, I can go through and explain to you all the souvenirs that I have found, and most of them are objective and most of them are just memory oriented. But anyways, I will get into what I call the forget-me-not and what I think is important about it and why I think everyone should get a forget-me-not. Okay, so with a forget-me-not, it's a journal, a notebook, a folder, something that you can easily travel with and carry with you, hold on to, something that won't get ruined easily, something that you won't lose, something that's pretty good. And with that, you're going to have different sections, and from the moment you find out you're going on an exchange, or the moment you know that you want to go on an exchange, you're going to start adding to it and start making it perfect. It doesn't have to obviously be perfect, but your perfection and anything you can create is perfect enough for your future self. And honestly, there's nothing that you can do that'll make your future easier, because you don't know what it's going to be when you're there. You have your stereotypes, you have your research, you have everything that your brain knows about where you are going, but you don't know what it will be like for you. You don't know how hard it'll be. I can tell you guys 100% that I worked months working on this language. I did a couple Duolingo lessons every day. It was not good enough. I got there and I was a stupid Americano. I didn't know the accent, I didn't know how to talk, I didn't know how to be anything. Everyone made fun of me. It was not everyone. I was only there for a month in July, but it was I would go out in public and we would need a vest to go kayaking, and they would be like, what size do you need? And I was like, je ne parle pas français. Désolé. And they would be like, stupid Americano. And I'm like, I didn't know what to do in that situation, because I didn't know what I weighed in kilograms, because I didn't have it memorized, which, stupid American of me, but I didn't. And I also didn't know my height. I didn't know all of those things. And those were just things that made it harder for me because I didn't know them. But I didn't know I needed them either. But now that I'm going for a longer term, I have a lot more preparation, I have a lot more homework, and it's a lot more structure than the short term was. So I know I will be set better, and I also know from my previous experience that I need to know my weight, I need to know my height, I need to know this, I need to know that, just so I don't get made fun of by the public eye of where I'm going. Whether you were going to the nicest place on earth or you were going to the meanest place on earth, no matter where you were going, people are judgmental. It's going to happen, and you're going to have hard people in your life. And you don't know what it'll be like, no matter how hard you prepare yourself. But my personal tip to prepare yourself for your exchange is to make a forget-me-not folder, because no matter how much you think you won't miss your family or how hard your home life is, you're going to want them. You're going to need them, because there are times when you're sick, or you're gonna miss family, or you are not gonna poop for 3 weeks because the food's different and your body's adjusting, and you're gonna be cramping and it's not gonna feel good. Or there's gonna be times when your host mom says something weird and you feel super offended, but she didn't mean it to offend you, but you're just gonna feel heartbroken. Or there's gonna be times when you're at a different person's house that you haven't really met and you don't really know them, you just know them through association, and you're gonna feel weird and uncomfortable, but you still want to be there because you want to learn this experience and this culture. You're going to have parts that are going to be hard, and I'm going to tell you right now, do not call your mommy, do not call your daddy, do not call your grandma, do not call your aunt, do not call your siblings when things get hard, because it'll just make it so much harder. You're going on this exchange to experience a new life, a new culture, a new language, all of this stuff, and you are not going to get it if you keep going back to mommy. It's not going to happen. I can promise you that. And no matter how hard you're like, it's okay, it's one call, or it's okay, it's just this one time, it's not. No matter how much you think, it's going to be fine, it's not going to be. You're going to miss them more. The more you call them and the more you keep going back to them, the more difficult it'll be to stay the longer. Just from personal experience, I can tell you that. The more you shut them away, and as hard as that is, the more you shut them out, the more you can blossom. It's the truth. And that's if you're going to college too. If you're going anywhere, shut them out for a small amount of time. It's just a year. You'll be fine. They'll be fine. They know you love them. Warn them before you go. Hey, I don't want to miss you. I'm going to miss you. I love you. It's all out of love. But I'm not going to call you all the time. I might call you once a week, once a month, or whenever. But I'm not going to call you when I need you the most. I'm not telling them to totally ignore them, but ignore them when you need them the most. That's just, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Sorry. Okay. So now with the forget-me-not binder, now that has been like 5 minutes and I'm like totally rambling. The forget-me-not is important because when there's those times when you can't call them and they're not there, there's going to be times when you're in a different time zone and you really need them, and you're going to not be able to call them because they're going to be sleeping or they're going to be at work, or there's going to be some situation where you cannot get to them the way you need to get to them. But with a forget-me-not, you can have them in the grasp of a finger right away. So, things that you can put in your forget-me-not are Polaroid pictures, regular pictures. These are 2 of the Polaroid pictures that I have put in there so far. This is some of my friends, and this is just me laughing, announcing my country, which I think is silly and fun, and I knew that when I look at this, I'm going to be like, I have worked so hard to get here. Nothing is going to make me go home. That's like the hope for that. And then another thing that I have in here already is something that I had some of my friends write me a little letter, and I put them in an envelope. And I am not going to open this envelope until I'm on the plane to my host country. I will not open it until I'm in the airports of my host country. I will open it before I meet my host family and after I leave my regular family. In that time period is when I will read these letters. And I'm not going to read them all at once. I'm going to read them like piece by piece because I'm going to want someone with me. You're going to be alone in an airport, over the sea, over land, over something that's not something you're familiar with. You're going to be tired. You're going to be scared. You're going to be super excited and nervous. It's going to be amazing and terrifying and just all of these emotions all at once. And you're going to be alone doing it all. And you're going to want something, and that is something that you will have, is your easy grasp to knowing the people that love you and why they love you, and their little words of encouragement or funny things to just uplift you when you need to be uplifted. That is what that is. There's other things you could add to this. For instance, you could add a little like scent. Like you could get like a little piece of cloth, like cut a piece of cloth and like soak it in your favorite scent and like put it in a little like Ziploc and seal it super good and put it in there so you can like smell it whenever you need to smell that certain smell that you can only smell here. Things that like are like freeze dried. If it's like something super thin that you can put in a bag and like tape into here, you can do that. It'll be food, it'll be fun. You can also just add as many pictures as you want. You can add as many things as you want. Some people have like cut someone's hair and put their hair in there, which is weird, but like it's something that they did to feel something that they could have in the future. And whatever you put into this is something that you'll be able to have in the future. For instance, you could also add gifts for yourself, like things that you open on certain days, like open one letters but for yourself, or you can have your friends where you open one letters to put in here. For instance, Christmas, Thanksgiving. You're not going to have Thanksgiving. If you're an American, you're not going to have Thanksgiving in another country. You're not going to have the 4th of July. There's certain holidays. Hanukkah, if you celebrate Hanukkah in a country and then you come somewhere that doesn't really prominently celebrate Hanukkah, it's going to be different. Christmas is going to be different. Easter is going to be different. These holidays that we are so accustomed to are not going to be celebrated the exact same in another country. And it's going to be scary. It's going to be different. It's going to be something that you're not used to. But having the ability to resourcefully get that when you need it and have a little, it's still my home, will help you. Something else you could add is possibly like a little like trinket or like a fidget that you can have in there that you can just like type in there, not type, but like play with in there. You can add little anything. You can add anything you want. You could add words of encouragement. You could add, oh, today I thought blah, 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 blah. So then you can look back later and be like, oh, that's so funny. I remember when I thought that, or I remember when I said that, or I remember that situation. Little funny things that happen, or little funny quotes, you can put them in here. So like when you're down, you can be like, that was so funny. But there is a downside to having this. Just like you shouldn't call your mommy when you're sad, you shouldn't abuse this every time you're sad, because it'll also make it harder and to be done. As long as you're not fully resourcefully going to them, you will still get that sense of independence. But you also don't want to rely super heavily on the forget-me-not. That's my word of advice. Use it as you will. I think forget-me-not will be very beneficial to anyone that is scared of homesickness. You will have everything at the grasp of your fingers, and you won't fully be resorting back to your home, and you'll still be independent. Obviously, there are some flaws to this, and it's not perfect, and I haven't used it efficiently, so I couldn't tell you if it was perfect, but I do know people that have used it. I have seen people make one. I have seen people resort back to it, and sometimes there's tears. Sometimes there's happy laughter. Sometimes it's just a sense of relief. But I do know that I am going to take this with me on my exchange, because I do know that if I had this with me on my short term, it would have made some situations a lot easier. And that is all I have to say. Lots of love. Have a great day. And I hope this was helpful.